All right, welcome back. Lake Effect Sports. We've been out for a while, and that's because of me, not Matt. Just want to clear that up now. But who cares about that? Let's jump into some Indians talk. The Indians are not back. Matt, we've been gone for a
Yeah.
while. Let's kind of do a more recent update of how things have been going.
Um, right now, I would say the season has reached that point where it's basically nosedived pretty much. There's not a better way to put it. It's kind of nosedived, and the Indians at this point are just like in evaluation mode. At this point, just evaluating the young guys, figuring out who's going to stick. Because we both know that there's a 40-man crunch, and that's pretty much why you're seeing Owen Miller, Oscar Mercado, Zimmer, like almost every day at this point.
And I think the one of the few bats that has really maybe saved themselves some time has been Bradley Zimmer. He's kind of earned a spot onto this team because Yu Chang's proven he can't really do it. Owen Miller, at least now I don't think you have to protect him on the 40-man. You can call him up and stuff whenever, but right now he's not making a case to really stay on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just kind of like Oscar Mercado. Do you really keep him, or like they're talking about not protecting someone like Joel or John Cons? Oh, what's the
I know what you're talking about. I have a hard time saying his first name too. We'll just say Noel. Like,
yeah, he's crushing it down in the minors right now, and they're rumored to not be keeping him at this point. How do you not? He's still insanely young, and he's crushing it. What bat can we just give away? If someone's hitting the ball, I have a hard time just not saving them on the 40-man.
for sure, but like at the same time, he's probably a couple years away, and depending on who they want to keep, they probably want to have the assurance that they're at least a year or two away, not like maybe 3 or 4, which he might be since he's like maybe in single A, low A. I'm not quite sure of his situation, but yeah, like he might be like phased out, traded for maybe a position player, because I know that they want to like raise the standards in the outfield by trading some potential prospects like for like an outfielder. That's at least what I've read, at least.
And then that's the big thing. There's a couple guys in the minors that are solid outfielders, maybe, but even then, they're way too young to have like a call up anytime soon. They're really sketchy for me because you have some middle infielders and stuff. You're gonna protect them, but after that, it's I don't know.
Yeah, we're not Indians perspective. We're not those guys. Trust us. So
Yeah.
like, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. But for right now, this season is pretty much like, okay, like we saw some good things from Cal Quantrill. We saw some good things from Tristan McKenzie. He seems to be going in the right direction. And like, that's the type of attitude you're going to have with the rest of the season with the Indians.
It definitely feels like we've kind of figured out at least our starting rotation for next year.
Yeah, like Cal has definitely solidified his spot, if anything. Like,
yeah, and McKenzie's second half has definitely been the signs of the superstar pitcher that we thought we were getting with him after his first year in the league. He's kind of starting to get back into that sort of form. And his last start, big thing I noticed, he started the day throwing about 92 on the fastball. By the 6th inning, he was throwing 94. I mean, that's just not the same sort of situation the first year and a half he was in the majors. Now that he can build momentum and kind of that fastball is just, it moves a lot. It's not necessarily moves a lot, but it kind of zips on hitters. I don't know how else to really describe it, but it's a good fastball.
Yeah, I can explain it a little bit. Because of his length and his height, he's about like 6'4", 6'5". He has long arms. If you like, there's a picture out there where he could stretch down and literally like sideways touch the top part of the frame with his other hand close to the floor. Like, his length is insane. And that length gives him an ability to zip the fastball past pitchers because it gives it the impression that like kind of like what Randy Johnson used to do. Because of his insane length, it looked like he threw harder than he actually did. And like even though like McKenzie's like 6'4", and like Randy Johnson was like 6'10", still like that's the best example I can think of. Like that length is why he has that distinct advantage, even though he's throwing like 94. And to some people, it's like, oh, it's only 94. No, it looks harder than it looks. Trust me. If you're in the box, it looks a lot harder.
And not only that, he's throwing strikes. That's the biggest thing. He's going at batters. The walks have become way less of an issue. And it's just confidence. He looks so much like just almost happier out there. Like the whole first half of the season, he did not look excited to be out on the mound. Now he's kind of got that swagger back, and that's going to make him pretty good number 4 or 5 guy in this rotation.
For sure. And I think that's what hurt him in the first half was a lack of confidence, a lack of assertiveness. That's why his average fastball was like at 90, and it just seemed like he was scared to make mistakes. Like he was aiming his pitches, which is something you should never do as a pitcher. And I think he's learned to trust his stuff and realize like, hey, I can live up here. I have the stuff to live up here, and I trust it now.
We talk about a guy whose stuff isn't very good. James Karinchak. Maybe just a blatant cheater at this point. That's been awful since they found out you can't cheat.
Yeah, that one is I'm gonna like, here's the thing. The one thing that's more troubling to me is that his velocity has gone down 2 ticks. Like it was like averaging 96 is down to like 94 for whatever reason. I think it's more fatigue, but that it is making his situation a little bit worse than it was before. Like that's, to me, more concerning.
The thing with the spin though, it kind of can get you it can get you a tick of velocity too. And his spin rates have like been the worst plummets on the team. It's not even close. With everyone that's tanked, his has definitely been the worst of it. And I guess players have been having to like learn how to, I guess, throw it differently again. So maybe with a whole offseason, he can bounce back. But right now, he's just blowing almost every game it feels like he goes into.
Yeah, at this point, it just seems like he's trying to adjust to the mid-season crackdown. And right now, it's like, I do feel like he'll be able to come back from this, but right now he's just kind of like trying to make an adjustment to the adjustment that the league made like at this point. And like, I still got faith that he'll find it again, but right now it's just looking bad.
And the dude's a mental midget too. He loses it every time anything goes wrong. So once something bad happens, he's just a straight spiral down. That's not great for a guy who has to change his whole routine and rhythm in the middle of the year.
Yeah, like pitchers are creatures of habit. Like they are like the kickers of the MLB. If one thing goes wrong, it just sets up a chain reaction that it takes a while to come back from.
No doubt about it. All right, so I think it's time for 3 stars of the week.
Yeah, sure.
Your first pick, I'm 99% sure.
How about the new guy, Miles Straw?
I love that pick.
Yeah, like he was the one guy that they brought over, and he's been as advertised, like a solid bat. His speed is elite, and with that elite speed, his defense has solidified the outfield somewhat, which has been pretty much a disaster at points. Like he looks like a pro center fielder, and he might be our center fielder for a while, man.
And the big thing is he's young, and he's got a weird stat line. So he's such a great guy at not like chasing pitches, but he still kind of strikes out a decent enough bit, and he doesn't chase pitches, and he doesn't really walk a crazy amount. He's one of those weird guys. I feel like if he can get that on base percentage up just a little bit more, he can become an elite leadoff type guy because he's going to get on and he's going to create havoc once he's on the base path.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed with him is if he's on base and somebody hits a ball in the gap, he's scoring. Like
it doesn't matter.
Like that's the one thing of having a guy like that, especially with a mid and him, they can cause havoc and score easy runs from what guys usually go from 1 to 3rd. He's going 1 all the way to home. Like he causes that type of advantage.
And it's nice seeing those first two hitters. They're not necessarily like a big walks type guy, but they're going to go up there and they're going to try to get hits. And that can just mess up a pitcher. Your first two batters you're going to see they're coming out swinging, and you're not really going to strike them out a whole ton of the time, and they're going to make contact off you. They're tough outs right at the beginning.
For sure. And if they get on base, they're going to steal bases. They're going to like cause havoc that way too. Like as long as they get on base, they're going to cause havoc one way or the other. Like and that's a crazy advantage.
I can't believe you let me get this guy at 1-2. Cal Quantrill.
Oh yeah.
And this is just, I got the seal of the draft today. Cal Quantrill's been amazing, unreal. We haven't had an ace in this rotation, especially with Plesac kind of struggling recently. He's taken over, I guess, the ace of this rotation, and he's been phenomenal. So I'm very happy to see his progress.
Yeah, same. Like he probably like I don't think they knew what to do with him early on. Like obviously they put him in the bullpen. They thought, okay, we'll at least have him kind of stowed away. But then when he got his opportunity and then he built his got stretched out, he's been phenomenal, dude. Like he's just been like incredible. I think he's at a streak now of 22 consecutive innings without a run given up. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, he is also one of those guys. Unlike most Indian starters, that he's cocky, and I like it. He's cocky in a good way. He strikes someone out, he's getting excited. He's smacking his chest. He's ready to go, and I like that out of a starter. Sometimes it hurts when someone hits a home run off you, and they're gonna do it right back to you. He hasn't given up a run in 22 innings, so no one's really doing it back to him right now.
For real, yeah. Like, and he's got that type of like swagger with him. Yeah, like he knows he can like the best version of himself if he puts it out there. He's gonna shove, man. Like he's shoved so far and it's been incredible. Like it.
Can we talk about how much we won this Mike Clevenger trade?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We got Cal Quantrill, Gabriel Arias, and is it Cantillo is the other guy we got from Joseph Cantillo or Joey Cantillo?
Yeah.
Quantrill alone wins this trade. I mean, Clevenger, you can't predict him getting hurt. And when he gets back, I bet he's going to still be a pretty solid to above average starter. It's what he is. But Quantrill might be better by the time this contract's done. Not right now. He's not. I'm not going to go crazy and say something like that. I mean, he is pitching at an elite level right now.
True.
But he's getting real close to the point of being a top 3 starter in the Indians rotation, which is not something to scoff at. This isn't like being a number 3 starter in Baltimore where you're like, wow, you're just pretty average. No, number 3 in Cleveland means you're an elite starter and usually a number 1 on most other teams in the league. I mean, yeah. He's here. He's here and he's the real deal.
Yeah, like he's honestly been like he always had that pedigree, but he never had that opportunity. And now that he's getting that opportunity and like going through the Indians pitching factory, the dude's he's showing it now. He's showing it.
Yep. All right. Your second pick.
Second pick. Let's see. This is where it gets tough because it's been a bad couple of weeks. I'll just say Jose. Why not?
Yeah. Jose's been just solid. He's hit some home runs. Saw a stat. He's hitting over 300 in games we win, and in games we lose, he's hitting 190. So it's one of those things when we win, we're hitting with Jose. When we lose, Jose's probably not getting hits.
Yeah. Like that's been the season though. Like if he does something, we usually win. If he doesn't, we usually lose. That's kind of how the season has gone. With if he goes, we go pretty much.
It's the bats are very limited, and I haven't checked this since Straw's been on. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure with Straw, but Zimmer and Fran Miller are the only 2 guys with over 1 more besides Jose's like 4 he's generated this year. It's one of those things where no one's really helping him out.
Yeah, it's just been bad. I wouldn't be surprised if there were 3 guys with negative WAR or something like that.
A lot. There's a lot more than 3. You
Yeah,
could probably have 3 catchers with negative WAR.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
also true.
Speaking of catcher, I'm going to take him. Wilson Ramos. Since coming up to the majors again, and first time here in Cleveland, he's just been a nice little pop of a bat. He's hitting home runs, and he's been a nice spark plug. And I'm kind of at the point where Hedges can't throw a runner out. I guess he's calling solid games, but he's calling games with 2 of 3 guys who won't be our long-term starters. And Plesac struggled, so that's Eli Morgan. I mean, he had a terrible start today, so he's going to be hitting the hay soon. So you've had 1 guy he's been calling well with, or 2, Quantrill and McKenzie. So what's this big loss of putting in a catcher that's also a hitter? And that's where I'm at. And I think Wilson Ramos should be our catcher for the rest of the year, at least the number 1 catcher, of course.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a nice change of pace. Obviously, offensively. Defensively, I mean, he's not as good as Hedges, but I don't know how much of a difference that makes. Hedges is maybe here, and Wilson's right here, maybe. But I mean, yeah, definitely a good change of pace offensively. Good pick.
Yeah. All right. So your final pick.
Okay. I'll just go with I'll go with Clase because he's been our most consistent reliever all year.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He's definitely generated the most hate out of the bullpen. Him and Shaw, of course. I mean, he's always going to get it, and he's another one of those guys that Spider Tack, since that's been gone, he's also kind of started to tail off. But Clase hasn't. And when you throw 101, you don't need anything fancy. You throw 101 past a guy, and it already moves. He's kind of unreal.
Yeah, and I think he's starting to solidify his status as the closer. Hall has put him in more closing situations, and he's delivered. And you're right. 102 with cutter as a cutter, and 92 as your slider. Dude, that he should be your starter closer going forward.
Yeah. All right. My final pick. I didn't think you were going to take him. I was able to hold on to him because I wanted Ramos, because I brought up Kessler. I was like, I think you might steal Ramos from me. I'm going to take Tristan McKenzie.
Oh,
so
really?
I think since we recorded, I think he's had at least 3 starts. I know he didn't have 1 great one, but he had 2 very good ones, sandwiching it. So he's been good enough. He's had quality starts. He's not losing us games, and he should be winning us games despite the bullpen blowing them. So if there wasn't that, he would have more wins. It's one of those he's been great, and we already talked about how he started to figure it out, and he's nothing else to be said.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly, man.
All right, so moving on, we got Cleveland Cavaliers. They've had their summer league 2 games in. I'm going to actually stray away from the Evan Mobley talk and Isaac Okoro, because I think we'll definitely get to them individually. Is there anyone else on the team that's kind of stood out for you?
Not really, besides Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan did have that little explosion. The Falcons quarterback, he thought he'd come dress with us for a game, and he was just randomly splashing 3s. I'm going to show my bias as a Xavier fan. Trayvon Blewett should get a 2-way contract on this team. We desperately need shooters, and he's a guy who can go shoot nearly 40% from outside. He's just a spot-up guy. He's got an insanely quick release. He's not much of a defender. He's not very athletic. Sometimes he's going to shoot bad shots, but he's just a shooter. Just why can't we have another shooter on this team? And I don't see what would hurt keeping him.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. He's definitely shown a little bit shooting wise. And hey man, it'd be worth a shot. We need shooting in the worst way, especially with all the wings that were just snatched up in free agency. Hey man, take a shot on a guy that in Blewett. Yeah, take a shot in him. We need shooting desperately.
Well, what's the worst? He misses a couple shots, you send him down, or you cut him. you're not losing anything keeping a guy like that on your team. I think you can only really go up. So that's my one thing. And I guess we can now get into the two guys that are really important. There's Capangeli and other guys like that who I really don't care about, and I don't think they're going to make the team. One other thing too, Broderick Thomas, I really hope he doesn't make the team again. He's just tough. He plays kind of hard defense, but he is not a great point guard.
Yeah, he's pretty much a shoot first point guard, and that's not great paired with like a guy like Mobley, who probably needs a guy that passes the ball. So yeah, not great.
Okay, so the real important part of Summer League are two starters, hopefully this year. Evan Mobley. If you look at just the stat line, you see the shooting numbers, you're definitely thinking, ooh, not great. But he's shown such great signs and done the things I've wanted to see out of it. He hasn't shot the three well, but the shot looks good, and you just need to fix up a couple things, like just getting the shot off quicker, getting in a better rhythm, things like that. But the base, the follow through, that all looks solid. So you can work on just speeding it up. That's a much easier fix than just starting from the beginning and having to just tear it all down. And then for Okoro, does he look taller, or am I crazy?
I think he grew a couple inches. And I think he even mentioned it too. Like I might have grown an inch or two. That's what he said to a reporter. Like, I think he did grow a bit.
Because instead of having just that 6'4", 6'5" type shooting guard, now he's a true 6'6", 6'7" forward who also put on 20 pounds. He looks awesome. He looks huge. He looks a lot. Obviously, he has the confidence to play against these type of guys, but he's getting to the hoop and he's aggressive and he's had some crazy dunks. He's just high flying. And the combo with him and Mobley, they've definitely paired well together. And that's not a combo I did not expect to see well. Their little dribble handoff plays they've had, the fake dribble handoffs and diving to the hole, they've looked very good. That's one of my biggest takeaways from the Summer League.
Yeah, like they developed like a natural chemistry, and like with Okoro, I think he's always been a natural slasher. Like shooting wise, it's going to take time with him, but his ability to go downhill is the one thing that will make his scoring go up. And now you got a guy in Mobley who's a willing passer who can like set him up to go downhill like he's done in Summer League. Like honestly, it's a match made in heaven, it looks like.
No doubt. And you're talking about just kind of like the vision, just of those downhill passes from Mobley. It's unreal. He doesn't like he doesn't get nervous when someone like double teams them. A lot of big men, when they get trapped, they try to just skip one out and it gets tipped and it's a turnover. He kind of gathers himself, sits around, scans the court. He can obviously see over everyone, and he makes the nice pass. And I mean, when you're passing you're getting doubled. Someone has to be open. They just have to be. That's how math works. And he's finding that open guy. The turnovers are a little high because it's dribbling. He needs to really work on that, fixing up his handle, getting it a little more compact and not keeping it way outside and having those bad turnovers. But besides that, I'm very happy with what we're seeing so far.
Yeah, he's shown everything that we kind of heard about him. He gets out in the perimeter. He seems fine defensively guarding guards. And then like he had like 3 blocks in the first game. And then you saw in the second game, he's able to pass and be like a triple double threat on a certain night, depending on how the game goes. And like, that's why he's been called a unicorn, dude. Like we saw a little bit of everything, which is so great to see from Mobley.
No doubt. And one last thing with the Summer League that I've loved is that Garland, Sexton, and Allen are all out there in Vegas with them, practicing with the team, training. And is there a rumor too that we're trying to work out a contract right now with Sexton?
Yeah, there was one I think it was like I have one guy from Locked On Cavs. His name is escaping me, but yeah, he said that that they're trying to maybe get a contract extension worked out after all the trade rumors happened. So I think what happened was they tried to gauge his market. Nothing happened, and they were just like, you know what? Why not just keep him? You know, might as well, right?
And I don't know. I think I'm with that now. I wasn't as much at first, but the player development here in Cleveland has kind of been phenomenal. And I want to just see this core work it out. maybe it will take a little bit of time. And I know that quote everyone saw of Jared Allen, like, maybe in 2 to 3 years we could be a 5 seed. Oh, that's not what you want to say about your team in 3 years. That your ceiling is a 5 seed. But a 5 seed in this modern NBA, it's not like the 2016 era where you had to be the 1 or the 2 seed, or you probably weren't going anywhere. A 5 seed can go win a championship, or not win one, but make a little noise in the playoffs. I'm not asking for much. I just want to have a fun basketball team, and maybe we can have that for a change.
For sure. And yeah, like obviously with the quote, he was just being like optimistic, and like out of context, it sounds weird, but yeah, like there's enough talent to feel good about the direction of this team. And now with Mobley being the centerpiece, I kind of want to see like how this thing develops over time. Like I think there's enough to at least become the Grizzlies. You know what I mean? Like how John Morant, like when he first got there, they were a young, exciting team with a bunch of young players, and that he just like Ja landed in a situation where they all were there. The Grizzlies didn't know what was going on. Then he landed there, and then they kind of took off.
Yeah, and speaking of the Grizzlies real quickly, Zaire Williamson's going to be that steal of the draft. They got him around 10 or 11, and he had a bad time at Stanford. But if you look at all the top prospects that have been going through Stanford recently, they've all had the same issue with the same coach, and then they've all just kind of crushed their development. Zaire Williamson is kind of that step above everyone else. He was already better, unlike those other guys that were fringe first-round picks. This guy is the real deal, and I think now you have a pretty good 1, 2, 3 there in Memphis. Watch out for them to make a little movement this year.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
All right, so football talk. It is almost football season. I know there's preseason. I don't count that as football season just yet. It's almost here, though. So the Browns preseason game this weekend, right?
Yes, Saturday.
Jags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch if I'm going to be honest with you. Gary's probably not going to play. Baker's probably not going. Baker is not. I mean, you saw about every inside reporter wanting to talk about how Baker wasn't going to play.
Of course, like yeah, they always want to like bring up that yeah.
But with that being said, is there anything that you're going to look out for during this preseason game?
I kind of want to see how Greedy looks, because I know he's going to play. I know Newsom's going to play, and I kind of want to see how like they look live, because I know with Greedy he hasn't been on the field in a year, so like I want to see how he looks, how he like if he's still able to like move around in the same way he did his rookie year. Like that's one thing I'm looking for. And then I guess also to see if Mac Wilson's hype in training camp matches the performance on the field, I guess. I don't know. Like I'm just at this point grabbing at straws.
I don't care about the whole Mac Williams thing. Or Mac Wilson thing. He's just not that great. I don't think he is. He might have taken a step forward, but when you're bad, you're just less bad now. So I'm not sold. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Mac Wilson. I think the one thing I want to look out for is the rookies. I think they have Newsome listed as the 4th stringer right now for corners, and JOK is way down the list. And I know JOK did miss time with COVID and everything, so that probably didn't help him out much at all. But those guys are kind of expected to be on the field impacts immediately, and a 4th string quarterback and a rotational linebacker will be on the field, but I expected a higher capacity. So I'll be interested to see if they play well in this game and that moves them up the depth chart or anything like that.
For sure. Yeah. Like that's with one less preseason, it's all about the depth pieces. Like how do they look? Are they going to be functional when they're out there? And that's just pretty much what these 3 preseason games are going to be. Like it's all about those guys. That's always what it's always been. It's a showcase to figure out like, okay, who's going to stick, who's going to be with us, and like all that type of stuff.
Yeah, but also just don't take too much. It's kind of like the summer league right now, where you shouldn't take too much weight of what happens. You're not facing starters. That's what it is.
Yeah, like you just try to take little bits of information and try to like gather it. That's all it is. And honestly, like if Trevor Lawrence happens to torch the secondary, who like I won't really care. It'll be fun for Jacksonville fans, but it's like I'm not really gonna worry about it.
I hope we light him up. I'm being honest. I just hope we destroy him. I don't like him. Don't like Trevor. I think he's a little overrated too. I hope we destroy him.
That would be hilarious if, say, on national television he gets wrecked, and then you just see Urban Meyer's face, just like, oh god.
Yeah, he'll have an early season heart attack if he gets hurt.
Oh god. Imagine if he did what he used to do at OSU, where it was like the head thing, the throwing of everything, pretty much.
The
like,
headset, the over dramatic, just everything. It's like he got shot or something every time anything happened. But you get tackled for a 1-yard loss, and it's like he's literally having a heart attack on the field. And I think that kind of leads us to that last thing of Ohio State. Very short thing here on Ohio State. Who do you think is going to be the week 1 starter?
The week 1 starter. Man, I really kept track of OSU, but I should. But I think it would be CJ. I would think, like, but that would be my guess. But I could be wrong.
I'm going to say Quinn Ewers.
Are you really?
I think he's not coming to Ohio State early to sit on the bench. He's the greatest QB recruit ever. I think he's coming to play football here at Ohio State. And there's a lot of talk, a lot of rumors of players inside kind of freaking out once they heard Ewers reclassified. There's a reason for that freak out. He's the real deal. I think you'd be dumb to let the best quarterback in your room sit on the bench.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be shocked if he was able to like steal the starting spot right away. But I guess I'm just not convinced that he's going to make up so much time that quickly. But then again, I wouldn't be shocked. He's the number 1 recruit. He's been hyped forever. And now that he's got a shot at 17 to like at OSU, I would not be shocked if Ryan Day just said, you know what, I'm gonna put in the mullet kid. I'm gonna put in the kid with the mullet.
And so far, he said the offense is just very similar to what he ran in high school. So someone like Trevor Lawrence, he's from Georgia. I'm almost positive. Their offense in high school was just something very small, like a very condensed playbook. So when his first year at Clemson, they really only had half-read fields for him. So he would only see one side of the field. With Ewers, you can open up that playbook right away. And I think that's just one of those big differences. Those Texas guys, they're running college offenses from 6th grade on, basically.
For real. Like, yeah, like they're so advanced down there. And like, while say my local high school of North Ridgeville is maybe running like a simple spread offense, they are running like a college style Ryan Day type offense, which is like very expansive in where like Ryan Day incorporates pro style stuff in his college playbook. Like Quinn could be ready right away. Like you're right, but who knows at this point? Like he's still 17. Like he's got it's a lot of things to accomplish. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he starts, but who knows?
Yeah. So your high school ran a spread offense. That's nice. Ours goes I formation, power run for 3 plays and a punt usually. So
yeah, like we for the most part we did spread, but then when we got DeMario, it was pretty much power run the entire time, dude. Like maybe they would do some options with our QB and a couple passing plays, but for the most part they would just run the ball with them.
You remember Devion Smith from Michigan?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he went to our high school. That dude was the best player I've ever seen. Well, second best player I've ever seen. Lynn Bowden is the best I've ever seen in high school. He went to our rival high school. He's unreal. He was the Kentucky guy, and he's with the Dolphins now. Okay. Then Devion Smith, I mean, we would run him 40 times a game without fail. And one year, he started every single game out with a rushing touchdown. All 10 games. First play, handoff, he'd break 5-6 tackles and then just burn by everyone else.
Was he just like a bigger guy? Like how
he was a monster, absolute monster. And we actually had that year. We had a pretty we had some big guys up front too, so they were going to move a little ground for him. He wasn't getting hit behind the line early in the game at least, and then he just monster. I mean, he would drag guys. I'll send you after. This is just his high school highlight tape. It's one of the most insane things ever to watch. Of this dude's bigger, better than every single other kid out there. He was a man playing against kids. That's exactly what it was.
Oh my God. Yeah, I need to see that now after this then.
Yeah. All right. So you got anything else, Matt?
I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna probably watch the Malice of the Palace doc. Like, I think that's on Netflix. So I might be doing that after
next week's show. You want to review it?
I'm down.
All right. So that's what we got for you guys next week. Tune in for that. But check us out on our social medias. They'll be linked down below. See you guys next time. Peace out.